The gravel crunched under my truck tires as I pulled through the gate of my family's ranch for the first time in 8 years. The old wooden sign, Meadowbrook Ranch, EST 1947, still hung crooked on its posts, exactly how Grandpa had left it. My chest tightened as I took in the weathered barn, the sprawling pastures, and the farmhouse that held every childhood memory I cherished. I'd inherited the property 6 months ago when Grandpa passed, but work commitments kept me away until now. Finally, I'd quit my soul-crushing corporate job in the city and decided to honor his legacy by restoring the ranch to its former glory. As I stepped out of my truck, breathing in the crisp autumn air mixed with the scent of hay and earth, I noticed something that made my blood run cold. A pristine white sign had been erected at the edge of my property. Meadowbrook Estates HOA. All properties must comply with community standards. My ranch was surrounded by what used to be farmland. When had this happened? Before I could process this discovery, a black Mercedes came speeding up my driveway, spewing dust everywhere. A woman in her mid-50s emerged, wearing a cream-colored pantsuit that looked absurdly out of place against the rural backdrop. Her hair was styled in that aggressive, "I want to speak to your manager" cut, and her face was already contorted in fury. "Excuse me! Excuse me!" she shrieked, her voice sharp enough to startle the crows from the nearby oak tree. "You cannot be here. This property is part of Meadowbrook Estates, and you are in violation of at least 17 HOA regulations." I blinked at her, genuinely confused. "I'm sorry, who are you?" "I'm Patricia Hendricks, president of the Meadowbrook Estates HOA. She thrust a perfectly manicured finger toward my property. "This eyesore of a ranch is bringing down everyone's property values. Where is your owner? I need to speak with him immediately about compliance." "I'm the owner," I said calmly, extending my hand. "Jake Morrison. This was my grandfather's ranch, and—" She recoiled as if I'd offered her a dead fish. "Your grandfather's ranch? Well, your grandfather has been deceased for months, and this property has been abandoned. According to our HOA bylaws, abandoned properties can be seized and redeveloped for the good of the community." My jaw dropped. "Seize? You can't just seize someone's private property. We absolutely can when that property owner failed to pay HOA dues for 8 consecutive months." Patricia's smile was venomous. "That's $4,800 in back dues, plus $12,000 in fines for various violations. Your property now has a lien on it, Mr. Morrison, and we are in the process of foreclosure proceedings." The world seemed to tilt. Wait. I never signed up for any HOA. My grandfather certainly didn't. This ranch has been in my family for 78 years. Patricia pulled out her phone and began scrolling with aggressive taps. "Your property was automatically enrolled when we incorporated the Meadowbrook Estates HOA 18 months ago. All properties within our designated boundaries were included. You should have received notification." "I was never notified of anything." "That sounds like a personal problem," she snapped. "Now, I'm going to need you to leave this property immediately, or I'll have you arrested for trespassing." "Trespassing? On my own land?" I couldn't believe this was happening. Patricia was already dialing 911. "Yes, hello? I need police at 4782 Meadowbrook Road immediately. There's a trespasser on HOA property who's refusing to leave and becoming aggressive." I haven't even raised my voice. I protested. Within 10 minutes, 2 police cruisers pulled up. My heart sank as I recognized Officer Mike Donnelly emerging from one of them. He'd been friends with my grandfather for decades. "Mike," I called out, relief flooding through me. "Thank God. Can you please explain to this woman that this is my property?" Mike's weathered face broke into a genuine smile. "Jake Morrison. Heard you were coming back to fix up your grandpa's place. Good to see you, son." He turned to Patricia with considerably less warmth. Mrs. Hendricks, what seems to be the problem? Patricia launched into a theatrical performance worthy of an Oscar. Officer Donnelly, this man is trespassing on HOA property. He's refusing to leave, he's been verbally aggressive, and I fear for my safety. Mike's expression didn't change. Ma'am, this is Jake Morrison. He inherited this ranch from Bill Morrison. This is his property. The HOA has a lien on this property due to unpaid dues and fines. Patricia insisted, her voice rising to a pitch that probably troubled dogs in the next county. We sent all the proper notifications. To what address? I asked pointedly. Patricia faltered for just a moment. To this property address, of course. Nobody's lived here for 6 months, I said, pulling out my phone. I've been in Seattle. My grandfather passed away, and his estate was in probate. If you sent anything here, it sat in an empty mailbox. Mike scratched his chin thoughtfully. Mrs. Hendricks, you can't exactly expect someone to respond to mail at an address where they don't live. That's not my problem. Patricia was practically vibrating with rage now. The law requires we send notification to the property address of record. We followed proper procedure. Did you, though? Came a new voice. We all turned to see a man in his 60s climbing out of a dusty pickup truck. He wore worn jeans, a flannel shirt, and a cowboy hat that had seen better days. His face was deeply lined from years in the sun. Tom. I recognized him immediately. Tom Fletcher, who owned the property adjacent to ours. Jake, good to see you back, Tom said warmly, then turned his attention to Patricia. Mrs. Hendricks, I've been meaning to have a conversation with you. Patricia's confidence wavered slightly. Mr. Fletcher, this doesn't concern you. Oh, but it does, Tom interrupted, pulling a thick folder from under his arm. See, when you and your developer buddy tried to force my land into your HOA, I did something you probably didn't expect. I hired a lawyer, a real good one, too. He handed papers to Officer Donnelly, who began reading with growing interest. Turns out, Tom continued, his voice casual but carrying an edge of satisfaction, your HOA incorporation was never properly filed with the county. The boundaries you claimed included properties that were never legally annexed. You needed a supermajority vote from all property owners within those boundaries to create the HOA, but you only got votes from a new subdivision residents, the ones your developer buddy built. Patricia's face had gone from red to white. That's absurd. We followed all legal requirements. Did you, though? Tom repeated, pulling out more documents. Because according to the county clerk's office, your articles of incorporation list 23 properties within your boundaries, but you only have signatures from 12 property owners, all of them people who bought homes in the new subdivision. You never got consent from any of the original landowners whose properties you tried to grab. Mike was now grinning openly as he read through the documents. Mrs. Hendricks, this is pretty damning stuff. Furthermore, Tom continued, clearly enjoying himself now, forcibly including someone's property in an HOA without their explicit written consent is illegal in this state, has been since 2019. Which means your entire HOA is operating without legal authority.